Life is such a blur. Email details, more stuff. My business is consuming me. Am I really living? When do I get to do what energizes me and enjoy the rewards? Welcome to your second life. All is now doing what you love and loving what you do. It's radical creativity. Here's your host, the VIP coach, John Davidson.
The VIP coach. Folks, this is JD, the VIP coach. Very excited about today's show. Welcome to Radical Creativity. Yes, this is Radical Creativity with the VIP coach. And you're listening to Performance Coach John Davidson. Yes, I am Performance Coach JD, as they call me. And that is John Davidson. But I go by JD. I go by other names, Skillful Prodder. Yeah, companion, climbing buddy, and all the above. You know what coaches do, right? We partner with you. We become your sparring partner. That's right. We become your wingman. We become your success ally. And you need this. If you're listening to the show, you're an entrepreneur. You know you have limitations. You've come to a point in your career where you know that it's not about having all the answers, right? It's about having all the questions, right? That shows maturity as an entrepreneur. So I like to think of our listeners as entrepreneurs that are true listeners. These are people that know that they are indeed limited, and yet they want to go to the next level. They're very, very interested in going to the next level, but they're not going to get there without teamwork, without collaboration, without their willingness to be wrong. That's right. If you're not willing to be wrong, then that means that you are not comfortable with your own ignorance. That means that you think you've got all the answers. And let me tell you this. Can you imagine coming into a room, you got a group full of people, they all want to contribute, they all want to think for your organization, they're just hungry to do something noble, they want to do a good cause, right? They want to know their lives matter, they want significance. But guess what? If you've got all the answers, and you go in and you say, hey, everybody, I know what to do, and here's what we're going to do, and here's my plan, and here's where we're going to go with it, and here's why it matters. You're what I call a laminating CEO. That's right. You have your vision, your goal, your plan, but all that is laminated, and you think at the time you're going to put that on the wall, everything changes, as if the point of lamination means you're going to get buy-in, right? That's the big word. JD, I got to get buy-in, man. I got to get these people, I got to get this team on board. And so on the Radical Creativity Show, people, we don't do hype. We don't talk about changing your beliefs, programming your mind, the law of attraction, all that hocus pocus. This is the real stuff. This is right from the street. This is what the business street fighters talk about. You're going to get exactly what we do out there on hundreds of coaching calls. I'm going to bring examples, tools, anecdotes, all the above. You're just going to want to stay here for the next 25 minutes. And the reason why we call it Radical Creativity is a very, very good reason. This is called the Radical Creativity Show because what we put into this and what drives our VIP coach program is allowing our clients to move toward a level of creativity and freedom and earning power and stay there because they got trapped. That's right. They got so good at what they do that their very, very level of mastery has gotten them into a booby trap. It's gotten them into a place where they are not liberated. And they're listening to this show because they have become prisoners of their own machine. By virtue of being successful, they brought the very limits that they seek to defeat. And they need the help of a coach to help them see the non-obvious reasons. That's right, the uncaused cause. All the systemic problems that tend to occur inadvertently when we count on things to go better. We wanted to go into our business and get all the freedom, but it ain't happening. And so you begin to ask questions. Well, what's going on here? Is it this business? Is it the industry? Is it me? Is it my habits? Is it my team? Is it the way I think? Is it yada, yada, yada? Well, here it is. If I take you side by side, right, and I put you right next to the other business owner, same market, same opportunity, same income, same, one of you is going to do better. One of you's not. Why is one of you going to do better? Because you have a different mindset. You have different habits. You have a different support structure. you have a different take on the game. You have a different take on the game. So what are the tenets of change? The reason I'm doing this show today, this is December, it's 2012. We're right on that threshold, folks, of the new year. You're probably thinking about what happened this year, what it is that you're going to need to change. I hope you are, because your single best point of leverage is reflection. So as you go into the new year, you're probably asking, I've got a lot of neat things I might want to continue. I've got things I want to begin. I've got things I want to end. I want to start, stop, and continue certain things. But what's it going to take for me to create the change that didn't happen this year? Here I am, and I'm setting some of the same goals again. Shit, here I am sitting down going, I got to do the same goals over again. I've got so many that I didn't create. Why didn't I create those goals? And I think it's a good question for today's show, is why don't our goals come to fruition? What's the reason? Why is it? What is it that within our responsibility and contribution, not blaming, not saying, it's the economy, it's my team, it's my partner, it's the environment, it's because it's raining today. It's none of the above. And that doesn't do anything for you if you're thinking that way. We're not going to pass the buck or say everything external is responsible. Listen, you're not a victim, okay? It's system of the victim, not victim of the system. Let's get the start straight here, right? It's personal responsibility time. You're the creator. You have a creation. That's your business. You're separate from your creation. You need to make adjustments. And it's a great time to be thinking about that. Remember, the 2 points of leverage, what are they? What are they? I just said them a moment ago. To reflect and to measure. This is Reflect and Measurement Month. You need to reflect and you need to measure. So I want you to write this down. What goals did you seek to create this year? What were the goals that you sought to create this year? And take inventory all over your life. Come on, you're not just a black and white business person who's identified with business success. You're a technicolor person. You did set goals and aspirations, some expectations of yourself in other areas. So I want you to look at your personal, your professional dimensions of your life. Otherwise, if you're not paying attention to your personal, you may have some great things happen for your professional, but you're on the border of a divorce, or you're on the border of never seeing your kids, or you're just tied up with your business. And I know that's not what success means. Success means you get out your scorecard, the end of your life, and you think, gosh, what would I really, really say I did it all with? I did all these great things. I did it all. I played all my music. I expressed love. I took care of people. All those things that your aspirations are really composed of. And it's not about being at the office more, right? At your end of your life goals are not going to be about that. They're going to be about things that really, really, really matter. And the things that matter, you don't cost a lot to create them. Because the things that matter, the people that matter, the places that matter, the activities that matter, you make choices. It's not about paying your way and bridging yourself to them. So many of them, even if you made half of what you made, the cosmic joke is it doesn't cost a lot. So what's between you and having that? Well, it's worth some thought. And I think that's part of kind of getting why it was that you didn't get to your goals. So write down goals that you set, right? Look at your health. Look at your mental fitness. Look at what you expected to create this year. What did you envision? What did you picture? What were you measuring this year? Were you measuring your waste? Did you ever think about it? Why is it that business owners, when I bring this up, and I say, hey, let's talk about your health, and they go, oh, yeah, we should. Every one of them says, yep, I should talk about that. Why is it that we business owners neglect ourselves? We're such martyrs, right? We put all of our energy, efforts altruistically in what we want to create, everybody else, and we're kind of the last on the totem pole. And we'll leave ourselves to the last. We do kind of everything last for us. We give away the farm. We make sure we get everybody paid in our payroll. We don't pay ourselves first. And that's kind of our theme in life. We don't pay ourselves the attention first. It's not just financial. It's love and attention, right? We don't take care of what matters to us. That doesn't mean being selfish, because a lot of our urges, if they're not met, if we're not taking care of number one, we're not taking care of other people. So by making sure that what we want is being paid attention to, it's ensuring that we have a will to live. We strengthen our will to live so other people that are depending on us, that we're leading, that we're helping become realized and reaching their potential, they're able to, because we're able to do our work and give them what belongs to them with our work. Right? Our leadership, inspiration, enthusiasm, all the things that an entrepreneur does to bring a bunch of people into their potential and help them realize who they are within what you're realizing in who you are and what you want to create. So what about your health? See, why is it? You probably say to yourself, oh, I don't know. Did I really kind of seek to create something there? Or was I kind of hoping that it would happen? Maybe it was left over. And I'll bet you're saying to me, you're shaking your head. You're going, oh, man, that should be a priority, but it's not a priority. Well, maybe we're starting to get at, again, why it didn't come to fruition. Because it didn't matter to you. See, the reason things often don't come into being is because they don't matter. And we feel funny about being honest about things that just don't matter. But you know what? Here's a reality check. Just take a look at where you're spending your time. That'll tell you whether your priorities are this or that. If you take a week out of your calendar, a couple of weeks out of your calendar, you look at how you spent your time, just like how you spend your money. If you look at where your money was spent, you'd go, oh, wow, I didn't see how much was going toward this or that, or how much I was spending on these materials, or what I was spending on this entertainment piece, you see. So in this sense, you don't know exactly where your time might be going, and I suggest that you start to get to know where your time is going. Look at this goal. What do you say matters? And what in this needs to start, stop, or continue? Well, before we do that, let's look at where we actually are. So take a look at your health. Then let's look at where you actually are with your relationship with your spouse. Right? Check that out. Did you set some aspirations and goals this year? What exactly were they? How many of them were met? You know, how do you measure what you're creating with your spouse? Not an easy question for us guys. I don't know what it is, but us guys, we just don't get it. We're kind of gorillas doing brain surgery. You know, we do this great thing in our business, and yet we get home and we boop boop, we boop boop. We're like cuckoos. We just don't get it. And so, what are you going to do this year? What are you going to measure in your relationship? What do you seek to create? Do you measure the amount of free time you're spending? How present you are with this person? Do you measure the number of orgasms? Right? Do you measure the number of free day trips that you actually take? Do you measure the qualities that you want to create together, the time? Do you guys read together? Do you have certain simple activities that you do together? Again, it's not what you should do, it's what you want to do. But let's put things in order. What do you really want to create, kind of longing, long-term? Maybe some broad brush ideas like connection, you know, maybe a sense of safety, maybe a sense of trust. You want to create a living truth where perhaps you have a state of affairs where you could say anything, right? Maybe you want to be able to talk openly and freely. Maybe it's a certain sexual fulfillment that you're seeking to create. And as I'm saying this to you, I bet your mind is kind of negotiating with you like, yeah, right, that'll happen. Yeah. And that's normal. That's your past talking. It's saying, oh, that's not realistic. That's not attainable. That's the past talking. But remember that the wake doesn't drive the boat. The tail doesn't wag the dog. Right? So some things we just have to let go. If it didn't work out, it didn't work out. It didn't come to fruition. No regrets. This year is history. Right? We're coming into the next year. You got to let this one go. Right? It's going to ride off in the sunset. It's going to melt away. You just got to let go of your grasp. Whatever it was supposed to happen, so it did and it didn't. It played out exactly the way the future needed it. So if you're unclear, it's about ready to generate a level of clarity for you. Reality is about committing to the truth. Commit to the truth. Tell yourself the truth. What's going on? Good, bad, and ugly. Relationship with kids. I know you. You want to get home by 6 o'clock. How'd you do? Did you get home by 6 o'clock? You're probably saying to yourself, oh, my business doesn't favor my life plan. Well, then what has to change? How do I help my business become docile and domesticated to my life plan? What has to change? Do I need to organize my time differently, right? What do I need to start, stop, and continue? Kind of taking it down piece by piece. Health, my relationship with my spouse, my relationship with my kids. You know, it's funny. I ask this of all the coaching clients, what really matters most to you? We do an inventory. We do several of them in the coaching program. And, of course, these three things always come up. My family's indispensable to me, and then there's some specifics within that. And then they have some of course, spousal things in there. Well, this is indispensable. You know, my body's indispensable to me. There's certain things that I couldn't live without. And yet you look at their time. You know, like I said, the honesty check is you look at the time, and it's nowhere near what they say. So this discrepancy between what they actually do and what they actually say is cognitive dissonance. What I think and do are completely different. You think that causes some stress? Yes. But if I flip it over, it creates or generates better action. Instead of looking at it with, oh, gee, I really let someone down or I'm letting myself down, instead of getting stuck as if it were always permanent, how about approaching it with the assumption or notion that it's all temporary? Nothing is permanent. Everything must change. That kind of gets you off the hook, doesn't it? It kind of lets you see the existing reality and kind of checking into the glimpse, but not getting caught in the way it's been and constantly looking for the same conditions. Because nothing is permanent. The only way that we see permanency is through the way that we see, not in the way that the lawful reality exists. Reality is reality. It's just showing us glimpses. Right now is a glimpse. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Every moment. Moment means movement. So every moment we're moving through time. And in that moment here we are. It's current reality. Now if we want to bring the past into filtering what that is and adding meanings and interpretations, why certainly we can chop it up that way. But why don't we just take a look at it as it is now? Good, bad, ugly, what's working, what's not working. How about your personal finances? Yum, yum. Right? What is it that your net worth is trending to? All right? How much liability do you have? How much debt did you have versus assets this year? Look at that piece. Right? How did you do? What were you expecting? How do you measure it? Maybe net worth. How about money saved? Right? Socked away. How about the amount in your emergency fund? How many months could you go without working? Right? What does it mean for you to be wealthy? And what are you doing? What actions are being taken to move you toward that wealthy position? What does wealth mean to you? Do you create an active income? When are you planning on retiring? Are you retiring from the thought of retiring? You probably haven't given that thought. Right? Are you saving 10% of what you make? Why or why not? It's about habits, isn't it? Oh, but JD, there's just so many things. You're banging me up here. Well, I'm going to bang you up some more, so let's take a break. I'll be right back.
It's Monday morning. I'm drained.
You've got mail.
Look at this. It's the Monday Advantage video. Yeah! Now I can get past the distractions and implement something new. The Monday Advantage. It's that easy. Just subscribe free for a limited time at highlevelperformance.com. Every Monday, launch the week with fresh tools, giving you the right state of mind, focus, and confidence. See what becoming a gifted boss and serial creator is all about. Subscribe today at highlevelperformance.com. That's highlevelperformance.com. And start enjoying your Monday Advantage today. Having a life where you have the creative freedom to do what you love and to offer the world something that only you can bring to the table. That is the world of high-level performance with John Davidson. That is the world of radical creativity. That is the world that you can be a part of when you realize all that is holding you back is you. Begin the journey through one-on-one coaching that gives you the finesse for business and lifetime achievement, and find your place on the roadmap to high-level performance today. Visit highlevelperformance.com. Grow your business and grow as a human being with these captivating books authored by the VIP coach himself, John Davidson. The Day I Built My Barbecue is about creative freedom. Learn how you can not only live well, but also grow a thriving business at the same time. John shows you his step-by-step technique with the principles, strategies, and steps to move from a business operator to a business owner. The day you build your barbecue is the day we all wish for. Totally free of distractions, totally available to living well, fully present. Then don't miss Unstoppable You. It's about creative value. When we do what we love and love what we do, we discover ways to make our business more fun and monetize our passions. Through stories, tools, and steps, this book will help you bring something to the world that no one else can, and bridge your most unique talents to the deepest aspirations you have of the future, and stand in the presence of all you are. It's about creative purpose. What does it mean to live on purpose? How do we work with the mystery that life presents us at every moment? In this book, John shows us through the silent spaces in life how to connect with our innermost sacred projects and passages. You'll learn how to bring the work, language, and presence of the soul into everything you do. Visit highlevelperformance.com to pick up any of these books in paperback or Kindle editions today. That's highlevelperformance.com. What matters to me? What is my true work? Monetize your passion and enjoy creative freedom with the VIP Coach. You're listening to Radical Creativity with Executive Performance Coach John Davidson.
That is the sound of JD. That's the sound of you taking hits. That's the sound of you coming into the truth. Waking you up, getting out of your hypnotism. Stop all the positive thinking. I'm getting so overloaded, so sick of all the positive thinking out there, which really is positive lying, right? This whole movement around thinking positively. Let me ask you a question. Have you raised children? Please tell me. Let me say this to you. Please don't tell me to have a positive attitude while you raise children. Are you kidding me? Right? Have you driven a career over the years? You have, if you're listening to this show. You're an experienced entrepreneur. Please don't tell me to have a positive attitude. Did you hold a positive attitude during that time? No. See, I got the secret. The secret is, did you spend your time on what you loved? Fuck the positive attitude. You could throw that out the door. It has nothing to do with the attitude that you have. You're going to have good days, bad days. You had days when you were inspired. You had a lot more bad days to get where you are now than you had good days. And on those bad days, what'd you do? Did you stop it all? Did you just stop creating? Did you say, oh, well, gee, it's all about how I feel? You weren't monitoring your feelings. You know what entrepreneurship's like? It's like having a baby. It's true. Your whole focus is on the baby. It's on that. It's on the creation, the life. You're not focused on what's going on with you. Yeah, when mom is in pain and she goes through all these things, it's a love-hate relationship, right? You barf in the morning, you don't feel well, you got to go through you got to be bedridden, you got to go through all this stuff. But the focus, the manual override, what matters most is bringing that life into birth, bringing that embryo into a safe birth. And mom makes all kinds of secondary choices, what she eats, how she treats herself. She makes all these secondary choices in accordance with her primary choice to have that baby. So how does she bring that baby into the world? She focuses on it. She doesn't focus on herself. And that may be one other reason why you have not met some of your goals. You fell short because you compromised. You gave up, your goals eroded at the face of the headwind. You had too much resistance. You didn't know how to push through the resistance, probably because you didn't position your goals well. Well, JD, what do you mean positioning my goals? I'm saying you probably didn't consider what really mattered or what the point was behind these goals. The goals weren't meaningful to you. They didn't really matter. Look sturdy. Look honestly at what your goals are, really. I mean, look at why you do what you do. Where is the movement really coming from? A goal is getting you to move. It's saying move towards something. But I got news for you. A lot of goals are camouflaged. Yep, they're in disguise. They're not goals, they're problems. They're unwanted circumstances. And the reason that you want what you want is because there's something that you think is either around the corner that you have to avoid, or there's something altogether that you want to get rid of. And so your cause for action, your compelling action, your origins of action are coming from that which you don't want. It's not coming from generative what you do want. It's coming from eliminatively removing unwanted circumstances. And may I remind you, Mr. Entrepreneur, that creating is not situational. You're in the life of a creator. You're a serial creator. That's what you do. That's who you are. That's what you are at the very core of your being, is a serial creator. But you conflict that or you contradict that when you are out to eliminate an unwanted thing. And most of the goals are disguised as unwanted problems. And so at most we take action to solve and remove the problem. What's the problem with the problem solving? Well, first, it doesn't engage you for long term. It doesn't involve you long term because you can't set a goal, create it, and then set a platform for the next goal. There's no momentum. Once the problem's gone, there's no further action. And also, that's why the problem always seems to circle back. See, I've had clients where they thought they'd met the goal, and then they have this temporary triumph, and then what happens afterwards is backsliding. They just retreat back to where they were. That's because once the problem goes away, the original action to solve it goes away too. And so nothing becomes a capacity. There's no habits. There's no behavioral changes. There's nothing sustainable about the change. So if you really get honest, really look at what underlies the motivation towards your goals, it's probably because they really aren't goals you're creating, or you're not acting in informed ways upon those goals. What you're doing is you're acting to remove an unwanted circumstance. So at best, your creating is situational. You're creating out of the situations you have rather than creating something for its own sake. And that's a very difference in motivation. That's a huge difference. You've got to recognize that. See, on the one hand, you're out there looking at, oh, I got this squeaking the loudest in my life, and let me put out this fire. And I got this thing over here, let me deal with this shit. And I got to get rid of this. And then you've got this other set of aspirations and desires and goals, but you can't get to it. Why? Because you're caught in the problems. You know, a wise sage once told me that all the problems in life are not solvable. They're insolvable anyway. We can only outgrow them with bigger urges to put our attention. Who said that? Carl Jung, right? Carl Jung, very famous Carl Jung, who really got clear that, you know, by having bigger urges, bigger business for your mind, bigger urges that stir you, that inspire you, that matter to you, you let the problems be what they are. Problems are existing realities, good, bad, or ugly. And what you do is, rather than focusing energy toward relentlessly removing the problems, what we do is we see the current reality as it is. And I call this positioning a goal within a structure that's really rigged to advance. So once you identify what you want to create with your spouse, your kids, your health, your personal finances, right? Your spirituality, perhaps, your state of being that you want to create, what you begin to master is something separate, separation between your identity and the creation that you seek to create. Because what you want to create is separate from who you are. And if you don't get that, then you can't use failures as assets. You can't use existing realities as pathways to learn how to create what you want. It's the only way to learn. I mean, how else do we really learn? We learn by bringing something into being that we care about a lot. And it's our opportunity to choose how we want to orient our life, how we want to organize our life. I see a lot of people organizing their life around fear, concepts, beliefs. They're ruled by their mental representations of the world rather than being ruled by what they truly care about. And part of the reason is that they're just dominated by a deep sense of powerlessness. Yeah, and they're dominated by a deep sense of worthlessness. And so they're caught in the throes, kind of the neural nets of these two very rampant belief systems. In fact, they're more common in probably 95% of us out there at various levels. Some of us in very, very invisible ways. It's really the ambush and the outlaw of our goals. Is a very deep conceptual sense of, I don't have the power to create what I want. And so we start to move toward what we want to create, but yeah, it's like snapping back like a slingshot. I really don't have the power to create what I want. And so we move toward resolving that rather than operating in favor to our goal. But what we can do is we can step back as a witness, as a creator, and we observe current reality and say, I am one who has a concept that tells me I don't have the power to create what I want, and I'm not going to look through that. I'm not going to look toward that concept. In fact, I'm going to look past that concept. But I'm not going to try to remove the concept. I'm just going to notice that it's there. I'm going to call it over. I'm going to investigate it. I'm going to recognize it. I'm not going to push against it. You know, I'm not going to try to fix it. I'm not going to get caught in fixing all my quirks. I'm just going to recognize that it's just a way of thinking. And as I look at myself and I think I deserve what I desire, maybe I can say, you know, self, there's some thoughts I have about what I like about me and I don't like about me, but I don't need to go as far as concluding it and actually forming it into something that is so formative that I actually ambush what I really want to create. See, a lot of us get ourselves on the hook to make sure we really truly earn. Whoa, man, we got to earn and keep the things that we want. So I got to set things up to make sure that I am worthy of what I want. I got to be worth it, right? Or, boy, I got to make sure I have the confidence or the self-esteem. I got to make sure that my person, boy, I really am thinking highly of myself to deserve better things. But when we realize that it's just a simple illusion, we're just hypnotized by our own past thinking. What we can do is, instead of looking at who we are, we look through another space. We look at actuality. We look at accurate perceptions of reality. We take stock. We take inventory. We have this ability. to look at reality objectively like an acquired taste. I've said this many times on this show. So what's going to help you create your goals next year is positioning your goals within a structure. One, identify the goal that you seek to create. Get specific and concrete about the outcomes that you seek to create. Align all the areas, right? Think about your health next to your business, next to your personal finances, next to your relationships, your kids, your wife, your social relationships, your charity, contribution. Look at the whole holography of your life. Look at the whole picture of your Technicolor life. Life balance is inequality of those things. That's right. You think, well, they're all equal. I make sure and dish out the right amount to all those things. That's bullshit. Life balance means aligning your actions and the time that you spend, your choices, with what you say matters. Time management is matter management. It's self-management. You can't manage time. Can't means won't. When you say I can't do something, you're saying I won't do something. Can't really means won't. Because if you said yes, you would either learn how to get there or you'd learn how to get there. The only way through is learning. And the only way to learn is by focusing on something that you don't know how to do. Yes, you'll know certain things that you do. You'll notice certain things that you can lend to it and so forth. You'll have skills that are commensurate. But if the only thing you do is choose your aspirations within your strengths, within your familiarity, you've got the elephant principle. You're caught in the contagiousness of the elephant principle. An elephant's tied to a stick. It walks in the circumference of that stick. The trainer takes away the rope or the chain. And why for the next 6 months the elephant only stays within the circumference of that stick when actually there is no chain anymore? We get caught in the programming of a performer. We actually strip ourselves of our humanity because we fear that we're going to be defective. And so we say, well, I don't want to take those risks. I don't want to interrupt what I'm actually comfortable with. I don't want to interrupt what I'm already I'm already this, I'm already that. And we hold on to old identities. We hold on to old habits. We hold on, and we don't let go. Because our mind wants to be right, and it wants to survive, and it doesn't want to put us in the unfamiliar. But our heart says, here's what I dream about. Here are my aspirations. Those come from a different source. That deep ground of your being speaks to you. Because that's the whole. You're operating from the whole. Everything in the whole is kind of outside and around you. You're part of something much bigger, broader in context, and you're sensing what really is standing in need of you. It's a deep, deep, deep knowing out of which you aspire to create something. And the way to it, well, this season, why don't you dance a little bit more? Why don't through these next couple of weeks until January, all the way through your life, why don't you just start singing a little bit more, expressing what's in your heart? Why don't you start moving around a little more in ways that really you're connected to what matters to you? How about going back to the enchanted stories, movies, books, those imaginary stories that are full of healing and wonder and curiosity? Go back to those stories. What are your kids looking at? Go back to their stories. They'll reteach you how to play. Life is an adventure. The universe was made as an adventurous place. Everything the future needs is given to you in this moment. It's all about trust. It's just a path. It's a path of everlasting learning, of organizing your action by what you seek to create, and then positioning it within a structure, identifying what you have now in comparison to what you want to create. Be honest with yourself. Tell the truth. Look at what you actually have. No positive thinking. Don't spin that web on yourself. Because if you look at the truth, that's what'll get you to change. That's what'll help you see what actions are necessary on behalf of the outcome that you seek to create. So retool. Go back to the building box. Go back to that place of reinitiating, reclaiming what really does matter to you. The whole year ahead is up for grabs, folks. You can rethink your life at any time. It doesn't have to be realistic. It's what the goal does to you. It's not what it is. See, what you imagine, what you seek to create is infusing your own meaning. It's something that matters to you. It's strengthening your will to live, strengthening your will to learn. And it's about choice. It's not about obligation. What you seek to create doesn't have to exist like music. It comes into being because you love it first, then you cause it to exist. It's so simple, it's hard. But to make a choice, I'm going to orient my life around the creative. I choose. I choose my way, my terms. That's leadership. I choose the way I choose to organize my life. If someone else doesn't like it, fuck them. What matters to you is a very personal thing. And it's your call. If you want to seek out approval and all that, and you want to be liked, and you want to diminish your life spirit in a compromise, you can do that. You can abuse it. You can abuse yourself. But I want you to play all your music. I'm all about creative freedom. I'm a fanatic about it. I want you to autonomously choose the life that you seek to create. Why? Because I need you to. Because if you do that, then you'll draw forth your talents, your skills. That's where your gifts are, is living by what you love. Right? That's where mastery is. That's where new skills, new capacities come into being through you by creating things separate from what you know. And connection. When you seek to create something, you're like a beacon. You're attractive. You're like a gravity antenna. People circulate around you. Other people's visions kind of attract to you like Velcro. You start attracting something different. Why? I don't know how that works. Right? But there's something about someone who's enlisted and signed up in what really matters to them, despite not knowing how. The what first, and then the how and why second. And there's something about that boldness of just adventuring into what you seek to create. You've got too much in you to give to compromise and have the same year as you did last year. I want you to have the best year you've ever had. But you've got to calibrate a couple of the underlying structures. One, position your goal within a structure you seek to create. Rethink your goals. See what you want for its own sake. Check out how you're spending your time. Take a closer look, a fearless inventory of your true priorities. And then identify what your actual priorities are. And then think about building a bridge between here and there. What has to happen now in order for me to position my priorities and insulate myself from everything else? And lastly, the big question is, what's the point of all this? The point of all this is to let go of everything non-essential in your life. Simplicity is coming from the inside. It doesn't happen on the outside. It doesn't. It doesn't happen by you spinning and thwarting and purging, and all that stuff comes first from the inside of letting go of your fear, your judgment, your cynicism, and concepts and mental models of the way you think the world is supposed to work, the way you're supposed to be, your ideals, your roles. It's not about fitting into a role. No. It's about recognizing what really does matter to you. And you know when you're pulled into roles. We all have this. We all have a little puny self that gets caught in wanting other people to think certain ways of us. We all have an ego. But your ego, what is it made of? What is it focusing on? Where is your attention? Is your attention on those more noble, wiser, caring components, those parts of you that are stirred by what really matters? Or is your ego really made of impressing other people and making sure you manipulate them to offset your shame? Where are you operating from? Let's get just right down to the core. What really matters to you? Think about what strengthens your will to live this year. Think about what brings you into the love and gratitude that you are. Think about it. What do you really appreciate? What's the point of all this? What stands in need of you? What's truly possible from here? I leave you with that thought, and I hope that you have a great, great season this year going into next year. It's an annual crossover. I hope I've interrupted your life with some of these questions. It's my hope that this year, in keeping your tires to the road, that maybe you'll meet your goals next year by getting some help and not being so caught up in the lone gunslinger in the corral of being your own individual who's rugged and trying to do it all yourself. Get help. Get help. Get accountability. Get clarity, organization. Get some motivation. Help a coach see what you can't see. Help a coach come at you. Get your back. Watch your six. Team up. Team up. Your future self needs it. It's asking you for it. www.highlevelperformance.com. We're at 714-375-6624. This is Coach JD. See you next year.
For more tools on how to liberate your gifts, become more valuable, and on purpose through radical creativity with executive performance coach John Davidson, visit highlevelperformance.com. And be sure to follow John on Facebook. Check back soon to continue the journey toward radical creativity.